Today we're unpacking what has to be one of the absolute most exciting cinematic mysteries of the entire year. I mean, the upcoming film Spider-Man Brand New Day is seriously shaping up to be a street-level masterpiece. We're talking massive, gritty stakes right in the heart of a totally chaotic New York City. The whole city is fractured, the criminal underworld is scrambling for power, and the vibe, it just feels heavier and way more grounded than it has in a really long time. The stage is perfectly set, the trailer is finally out, and man, the internet is just buzzing with theories about who's showing up. But as we comb through the incredible lineup of characters officially confirmed to be clashing on the streets of Manhattan, we really need to talk about a gaping hole in this giant cinematic puzzle.
We know for a fact that the heavy hitters are definitely in the mix. The Punisher is bringing his trademark, uncompromising lethal force to the streets. We even have confirmation that the Hulk is lurking around, which pretty much guarantees some raw, earth-shattering destruction. But when you have a New York City-centric story, one that focuses heavily on street-level crime, mob bosses, and intense vigilante justice, there's a glaring, mysterious absence right in the middle of it all. Like, if the neighborhood is under attack, where on earth is its most dedicated, grounded defender? Where is Daredevil? Well, if we piece together the evidence scattered across recent announcements, press tours, and the trailer itself, the devil of Hell's Kitchen might actually be hiding in plain sight.
Exhibit A, the politics of New York. So every good detective starts by examining the scene of the crime, right? And right now, the post-Thunderbolts status quo of New York City is incredibly volatile. Recently, studio executives have been carefully hinting that some serious coordination was in order between the various street-level projects and the larger cinematic releases. During a recent interview, one executive noted that while they don't want to spoil anything, these specific street-level stories very much exist in the same world, and the crossover potential is highly important. Now, at face value, sure, this could just mean they're making sure timelines don't contradict. After all, the studio has been through the ringer lately. But come on. Given how carefully worded these press statements always are, you can absolutely read this as deliberate track laying. They're making sure the board is perfectly set for Daredevil to seamlessly step right out of his series into the cinematic fray of Brand New Day. And hey, if you need proof that the board is being meticulously set, just look at this very specific, incredible detail from the movie's trailer. We see Sheila Rivera handing Spider-Man a key to the city. Why does that matter? Because Sheila Rivera is Wilson Fisk's campaign director. The Daredevil supporting cast is already undoubtedly present in this movie. This moment strongly indicates that the Kingpin's administration has suspiciously changed its tune on vigilantes, which is likely just a manipulative political stunt. And honestly, who is it that usually forces Wilson Fisk to change his strategies and get desperate? Yep, Daredevil. Exhibit B, the suspect's alibi. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is we have all seen this routine before. Remember the massive press tours a few years ago? Andrew Garfield was asked repeatedly if he was involved in multiversal shenanigans, and he completely stonewalled us. Denied it every single time, hilariously claiming he was just an innocent fan watching from the sidelines. It was the ultimate likely story mate because everyone suspected the truth. Well, now Charlie Cox is making absolutely zero illusions about what he's contractually required to say during his own promotional tours. The suspect's alibi is built entirely on the expectation that actors are going to lie straight to our faces. Just look at what he said during a recent late-night interview. He laid it out perfectly. He admitted that if he was in the movie, he'd be forced to say no to be entirely clear, right before immediately claiming he isn't in it. It's a fantastic, cheeky reminder that an actor's word is practically meaningless in this universe. I mean, they are highly paid to keep the secrets, and they know that we know that they're lying. The sheer transparency of his denial actually makes it far more suspicious, don't you think? But sometimes, the carefully crafted PR mask slips a little. Let's rewind to a public interview last October. The host was interviewing a lineup of stars right after premiering an animated Spider-Man trailer for this massive crowd. Because Charlie Cox provides voice work for that specific animated series, the interviewer naturally pivoted to ask him a question about being the only guy who plays the character across so many different mediums. The catch? The interviewer didn't specify which Spider-Man project he was talking about, and the poor guy got entirely flustered. Because he hadn't seen the animated trailer they just played, his immediate reaction was sheer, unadulterated panic. He completely stumbled over his words, nervously stammering about Daredevil and Spider-Man being a new concept. He genuinely thought he was being unexpectedly grilled about his secret live-action movie cameo. He tried to clean it up later by weakly claiming fans only think he's in Brand New Day because he happened to be filming something in London at the exact same time. Nice try. Sometimes a panicked, deeply uncomfortable physical reaction says far more than a meticulously crafted PR statement ever could. Exhibit C, trailer forensics.
Okay, we are shifting away from circumstantial interview slips and moving straight into the hard visual evidence. We've got a fantastic lineup of classic, longtime Spidey villains officially returning. Scorpion brings that terrifying, visceral threat. Boomerang adds that unpredictable, chaotic street energy. Tarantula and Tombstone, they guarantee that the gritty, mob boss level of Manhattan is fully engaged. It makes perfect sense for a neighborhood story. But then there's a massive anomaly mixed in with these classic rogues. The Hand. The ancient, magically enhanced, power-hungry ninja organization is officially involved in the chaos.
The Hand's cinematic and narrative history makes their path crystal clear. In live action, their previous appearances have exclusively been tied to grounded, martial arts-focused heroes. They are a thorn specifically in Matt Murdock's side. Over the years they've tried to recruit him, they fought him in the streets, and hey, in the comic lore, he even took control and led them for a while. They are deeply intrinsically linked to the devil of Hell's Kitchen, so having the Hand randomly show up to fight Spider-Man, that is the absolute smoking gun. It's the most vital piece of narrative evidence that Daredevil is stepping into this film to handle his historic baggage. But wait, there is even more visual proof to uncover. We have to talk about the invisible attacker anomaly. Look, we all know the studio has a notorious reputation for trailer editing shenanigans. They deliberately erase characters from the footage to artificially save the surprise for opening night. They completely changed Bruce Banner's Hulk appearance and past trailers. They literally edited entire alternate Spider-Men out of previous footage, leaving the Lizard just getting punched in the face by an invisible ghost. Well, spoiler alert, they are absolutely up to their old tricks again. When we analyze the physical space in the final fight choreography, there is a massive, unmistakable anomaly. Spider-Man is leaping aggressively toward members of the Hand, but there's a tremendous amount of empty, completely awkward space underneath him. The ninjas on the ground aren't looking up at Spider-Man. Their eye lines are totally off. They're attacking straight ahead, physically reacting to and blocking strikes from someone we literally can't see. Now, could it be the Hulk or the Punisher who've been digitally erased? Sure. Could it be another highly rumored new character? Maybe. But given that they're fighting the Hand, the invisible brawler occupying that empty space and trading martial arts blows is almost certainly the digitally erased Man Without Fear. Exhibit D, Legal History and Magic. So, the crucial point is, let's rewind the clock for a second. It's really easy to forget because it was a brief, albeit fantastic moment in a jam-packed film, but Peter and Matt have already met. Peter started his last major adventure in massive legal hot water after being internationally framed. Thankfully, Matt Murdock represents him, gets all the criminal charges completely dropped, and casually catches a brick flying through a window, cementing himself as a quote-unquote really good lawyer. Now, the complicating factor here is obviously the memory spell. Yes, the magic wiped Peter Parker's identity from Matt's memory, along with the rest of the world, but the spell didn't erase Peter's memories. Peter absolutely remembers the incredible, superpowered attorney who saved him from total legal ruin. If Spidey needs help navigating a city turned upside down by corruption and ancient ninjas, he knows exactly who to look for. Exhibit E, the motive and the moral triangle. And this brilliantly illustrates that beyond the hidden clues and trailer forensics, there's a fundamental narrative motive for why the script absolutely requires Daredevil to be there. We have three distinct codes of ethics violently clashing on the streets right now. You've got Spider-Man, driven entirely by hope and responsibility, strictly non-lethal, always desperately trying to see the best in people. Then, bringing pure chaos, you have the Punisher. Frank Castle operates on a deeply personal, uncompromising moral code and acts as a lethal maniac. The footage literally shows Frank accelerating a van directly into Peter and actively shooting at him. That is a massive, incredibly dangerous ideological and physical clash that absolutely needs an anchor. So, how do you resolve that explosive tension? You need a philosophical bridge, and that is exactly who Matt Murdock is. Daredevil represents the perfect ideological middle ground. He abides by the rule of law during the day as a dedicated attorney, but at night, as a vigilante, he regularly breaks it. He's extraordinarily brutal, but he stops just short of actually taking a life. Furthermore, Frank Castle actually deeply respects Matt Murdock, even when they fiercely disagree on methods. When things get dangerously heated between Peter's relentless optimism and Frank Castle's uncompromisingly lethal tactics, Matt Murdock is the essential peacemaker needed to cool things down before they literally destroy each other. The verdict: making up for lost time. Look, it really seems like the studio is making up for lost time here. After a few years away, Daredevil has been absolutely everywhere lately. He made an explosive, highly celebrated return in recent legal comedies, he fought brutally in recent street-level spin-offs, and he's even bringing his voice back to the animated realm. The studio is clearly eager to feature him everywhere, proving that the audience's appetite for this character is absolutely massive. And it all leads up to July 31st, the day the truth finally hits theaters. Keeping this legendary comic book team up a heavily guarded secret is a brilliant, calculated move. It ensures that when that digital erasure is finally lifted and Daredevil leaps into frame alongside Spider-Man to fight the Hand, the audience is going to absolutely lose their minds. The energy in the theater is going to be incredibly electric.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought as we wrap up this explainer. Look at the facts here. The Hand is back. The city is in total chaos. The Punisher is taking literal lethal shots at Spidey. When an ancient ninja cult strikes New York City, who else are you going to call? I mean, the evidence speaks for itself. Get hyped, guys, because The Man Without Fear is definitely coming back to the big screen. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep your eyes peeled for more clues.